Welcome, everybody, to the performance testing and SRE panel, where we are going to be discussing, giving you the opportunity to share some of your hardest questions that have been tickling in the back of your head on how to improve your performance, how to script, what to do with these modern times in our organizations, teams, projects, and much more. Before we get into the role, I want to introduce our panelists. No particular order, you are next to me, so.
Hi, my name is Robert Maiella. I'm a software performance manager for SkyGen USA. I've been with SkyGen USA for about 4 years now. Before them, I worked for electronic medical record company Allscripts. Was with them for 20 years before that. All in the QA realm. Started in QA analyst, manual testing, moved on to automated GUI testing, and then for the last 20 years, well, the last 15 years of my stint with Allscripts was purely in performance testing.
Next.
I'm Drew Tolliver. I'm a software engineer at Chick-fil-A. I'm on the QA enablement team for our customer technology solutions group. So that's anything having to do that interacts with the customer. So POS, the mobile app, the website. So just doing quality for that. Right now, working on getting our load testing solutions together. We don't really have that, so we're trying to get that together. That's what I'm working on right now. Relatively new to the QA space, so hopefully I can bring some different perspective for you guys.
And have a feeling that you like house to stay their way and alive and good.
Yes.
Next.
Hi everyone, my name is Delvis Echeverria. Right now I'm working as software QA manager for Explore, a multinational company. I'm focused on automation and performance management. I have a couple of teams around the world in India, New Zealand, Australia. So I have a bunch of people working with me on performance testing and automation testing. I started in 2007 working on performance testing using JMeter in 2007.
Ooh,
so
that was
I
not
know
pretty
that
back then.
I see the entire life of the JMeter. So let's see all the questions here. Happy to be here.
Okay, great. Thank you. A quick applause to the panelists that were brave enough to come here in front of the audience and risk it out to try to answer your questions and discuss and not to kill each other, because with performance, I've seen that things getting hot in the audience. But so for everybody here, and since we have also remote audiences and sometimes running around with a microphone and I don't have a long enough cable, we're going to be using Slido to submit some questions. People watching from home, if you get a chance to see this code and access the Slido app and type the code and post your questions, I'm going to be reading them from this funny device if it loads well. Okay. Everyone in the audience, also, if you want to post your questions, do it through Slido or raise your hand and I'll try to reach out to you and see what we can do. So here's the code, 3215430. We're going to put it on the display for the people watching from afar. And please submit your questions. Let us know if you need any answers to be or questions to be discussed here among the panelists. While we start to get some of the questions here in the system, that sounds weird. I want to start discussing with the hot topic of today, of this conference, of these times, AI and performance. And there's a lot of people that are worried that performance testing is going to be, testers are going to be replaced by AI and Skynet is coming for us and all that. What are your perspectives on that? Anyone wants to risk it and give your opinion? Come on, Robert. I see you.
So one of the main focuses that I've had for this conference is I wanted to try and understand the hype from the reality of AI in the overall testing workspace. I there was the previous session I was in, the speaker spoke about, asked a question, how many testers have lost their job to test automation? No one raised their hand. In test automation, it's not that old. And so
Mhm.
I don't think anyone will lose their job due to AI. I really think everyone's eventually going to embrace it to help them do their job in testing. I still think it's in its infancy in the area, so I'm here to see get ideas of how to use it in performance testing. And so far, I haven't got any ideas yet, but I do not buy into the fact that AI is going to replace us. We're irreplaceable.
It's not coming for us. Any
It's
other opinions?
Yeah, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for
That's the
my
point of the
company or
panel.
anything.
Yeah, bring it
So
on,
my
bring it
personal
on.
opinion, I was talking to my team earlier, it feels like a lot of since AI is so relatively new to the space, it almost feels like, to me, a solution looking for a problem, in that I don't think anybody's figured out quite exactly how it's going to be used yet. So that's just my perspective. I do see some useful things where we can use it to maybe go through, you know, requests and transactions and pull out, session data to be reused later for performance testing and things like that. But for me, we're very kind of cautiously dipping our toes into the AI pool, just to kind of feel it out. There's a lot of legal concerns around it, uh, intellectual property concerns and things like that. So I think there will be a place for it in the coming years, but right now it doesn't feel like a solution that is viable, at least to me. Yeah.
Good perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective, I want to say the focus should be another. The focus is maybe not think about if the AI will be replaced the tester. The focus will be get update on those technology because this is so important. The people talk about, hey, yeah, AI should be maybe replace tester, should be do this, but the thing is, we need to worry about those technology because we need it for our job. So the thing is, if you are not updated with the technology, you will be maybe replaced not for the AI, even for another reason. So that's my focus. I think this is important to keep in mind because right now, all people are worried about AI maybe replace me. But the thing is, take care about it. Take care about the AI and get update on the technology
Mhm.
because it's a huge world, to work on the AI right now.
Very diverse perspectives, as you can tell. And I like, Robert, what you're saying, this worry that, oh my God, automation is going to leave testers out of work. If any, I think we got more work than ever.
Yeah.
And with AI, I think it's going to be similar, as you're saying. And I'm curious. Well, it's not a threat. I think we all agree on that. How can we leverage it? What cool things do you think? And you're excited, like, oh my God, I cannot wait AI to get to this point to help me in performance.
So my first task when I get back from this conference is I came here is like, give me ideas. Well, how can I use AI to help me in performance testing? And AI is very good at detecting patterns. So we have tools, Dynatrace, that is monitoring our entire production environment. Well, I'm going to see if I can use AI there to pull out patterns that my engineers and I'm not seeing from our production customers. Their, performance complaints are always coming in from production, and we're not able to replicate that in our in-house. So I'm going to want to try and use AI to identify performance problems and how to recreate those performance problems in our lab so I can better help our developers fix them. That's my goal.
I like it.
Yeah, I would say the diversity of opinion, just to step back just a bit, is the diversity of opinion just goes to show that there's really not a consensus yet around AI and how it can be used. But Looking a little bit forward, again, it's where how can I leverage it to help me find my blind spots? What am I missing? What have I not considered yet? Can you analyze my tests and show me what I need to look at that I haven't yet? I think that's going to be a good initial value proposition.
Robert mentioned something important that I agree with you. For example, in my company, we are using AI focus on, performance automation in another side. For example, we get challenged, try to make an onboarding for the new member of the team. So I remember 2 months ago, I have a big, hired people there, like more than 10 people at the same time, trying to get onboarding on Selenium, JMeter. So we spend a lot of time, trying to make an onboarding successful. So right now we are trying to find out how we can integrate those tools, like a Copilot for those tools for the AI, to try to make an onboarding. Because I don't know if you are used before Copilot, you can only select the code and then you can say explain it, and then you can get the entire explanation. What about your framework? So I think this is perfect for us because we have a bunch of QA member coming to the company often. So we are using the AI for making onboarding successful on that sense. But like Robert said, for getting data for the performance testing result, that's important also.
I want to propose one on training people, helping them learn and understand. I never thought of that one. Wow, that's a good one. Because getting into performance is not the easiest path for some, especially when you come from tester to performance, a manual, functional automation. If you come from development, it's kind of easier. But that step ahead,
Also, sorry about
yeah,
interrupting.
go on.
But also, I think this is not only for people new on the area. It's people for example, I'm coming from another company. I don't understand your JMeter script, so let me understand how works the script. So this is something to get so quickly the saxophone to onboarding and get updated so quickly.
You're getting to a point. You mentioned if I get to a new system, a new company, even inside of our own companies, we may have to test. Oh, we just acquired this new software, right? Okay, panelists, and then I'll go with the audience. Raise your hand if you have had headaches with correlations. Wouldn't you like AI to help on that? I think, personally, I think that's the one that we can work the fastest, teach the machine learning, tell me how to correlate, and even spit some code for me already correlated. I think might make our lives easier. And there are some other analyses of friend results. That one, training people, wow, as well, is a very good one. And now moving forward, away from AI, but it's still gonna come back and bite us. I'm already seeing people watching. If you are on Slido, I already see several questions. I'm super happy about that. If you want yours to be answered or you see an interesting one other than yours, or if you are seeing others, upvote them. And that's a priority that we are going to start answering them. So the first question for the panelists is from Leva. I'm not sure. Eva, I might be an L or an I. I? Eva? Okay, sorry for that. And we know who was it. Thank you. And this is a very interesting question. How to minimize the volatility of a performance report? That's an interesting one.
So it's not the report that you're looking to minimize. It's like you make numbers say anything you want them to say. So I, if I'm not mistaken, it's like how to minimize the volatility in the test execution. Is that a good way to talk about that?
There is a situation that we are running performance tests on every commit. So I have a bunch of reports, but there is a range of volatility. So one report can be like plus 15, another one minus 20, overall score. But so I think maybe it could be impacted by the code changes. Also, there is some network, or maybe my lab where I did this whole infrastructure, maybe it's not stable. So I want to understand what could be the biggest impact of this whole situation?
So for the audience that couldn't hear the questions around reporting some response times and results from a performance test, continuous performance test, that suddenly goes on crazy numbers, suddenly too high, too low. And it sounds to me like a standard deviation situation that we want to analyze, but any ideas?
So we every test performance test has this issue. It's like, is it a bug or is it something else going on? So one of the first things my team did is we executed test after test, same test after test, and got a standard deviation. We calculated the margin of error, and then any outliers beyond the margin of error does require analysis. It's like, what's going on there? Sometimes it's environmental. I am I fiercely guard our performance lab. I do not let anyone mess with it. No one, if anything, one needs to run something in it, they need to, come through the team. But variations, you have to track them down, and sometimes it's code. You can't just throw them away. So I don't have a good answer for you on how I would do it. I was just trying to get to the root cause.
Any other?
That's what just to maybe go half a step further is figure out what the variables are, and come up with a systematic way to go through and analyze and see if you can get to that deeper, root cause. Really, that's just a off the top of my head idea is how I would maybe start to approach it. Yeah.
I would say, when you are trying to focus a report, I think it's important to try to customize the report, because maybe those one are focused on management, senior manager, but maybe are focused on technical person like us. So I was struggling to show technical variable, for senior management. So sometimes, my my I try to say, okay, if this report is focused on senior management, I can do it in this way. Try to put in softly, understandable. So if it's something that maybe my VP of technology or something like you technical side, I'd say, okay, don't put it there average, because it doesn't, just put in there exactly data that they need. It's a big difference on the customization of the report. Yeah.
That's a good shout. Is what's the context of the report? What's the context that might be important to consider? So.
There are some situations that on this type of reports, and that you have the variation. It's a key element that I think it's causing some issues in the report. That to me, standard deviation is one of the metrics that not that many performance engineers apply. When you need to know, let's say, your standard height in a population or response time, you're in a kindergarten. You have all the children like this high, like 3 feet, 2 feet, something like that, 1 meter for the people in metric system. And suddenly you have a kid that is LeBron James height. That's a situation that you gotta pay attention to. But if you are, let's say, in a software testing conference, and you have suddenly a LeBron James and who was some tiny player that
John
was
Stockton.
shorter, John Stockton, thank you. That standard deviation is normal. You know that you are going to have those variations. Where they come from, that's another that I would suggest do some monitoring, have some instrumentation to know, do some source analysis, find where it comes from. But if it's something normal, like if I got in the line at Starbucks and I asked for a coffee and I got it like in 1 minute, that's great. If I get it in 5 minutes, not so great, but it's expected. You are okay. If it takes 1 hour, yeah, no, I'm out of there. I know that that's out of my standard deviation. So I think that's one metric that I haven't seen many teams truly pay attention to say, oh, it jumped a second. Yeah, but that's normal, right? So identifying some of those. And in performance, it's like the art of saying, did that went crazy or is normal crazy?
Yeah.
It's my opinion. You wanted to.
I agree with that. Yes. But I just wanted to comment on the reporting. Who's your audience of the report?
Oh, that was one.
Upper management,
Yeah,
red, green, yellow.
Yep.
exactly.
Absolutely.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Smiley, just
Yeah.
they understand that.
Yeah.
It's the engine, you could dig into the details when it's the audience is the engineers.
That's as a performance engineer, to be successful, you also have to be able to talk different languages.
Mhm.
We have managerial or something like that, which, as you say, is it like profit, good, we can go to production. That's all that they care at those
Yeah.
high levels. Don't put anything else. Don't make the report boring. If it's for the developers, of course, even like put all the logs and all the situations that you find from the problem, all the analysis, the graphs. And this is something that I learned the hard way. First page of your report, executive summary with oranges and apples or happy faces. or
Agree.
Green and red lights. Then put all the rest that probably no one will read, but if anyone needs to, they can.
I agree.
I think for a lot of us in the space, it's easy to focus on the technical side and things like that. But for me, the biggest challenge is figuring out the communication part, which is, you have your report and you need to communicate it, and it's like you said, learning to speak the language that everybody needs to hear and understand what you're bringing them. So yeah.
And not only the language, what they are looking for, because a manager doesn't care about throughput or any of these fancy words, hits per second. They're like, can we go to production? That's it, pretty much. Okay, now we have another question from Maha. How can we integrate performance testing and SRE roles together? Currently, I guess these skills are treated separately.
I don't know if I have an answer for that. So I'll pass.
Yeah, I don't know.
I straddle the space that could probably speak to it.
Okay.
Performance engineer on it.
I think I can reach you.
Sure. So Mike Picardi with Edward Jones. Before I joined the firm, I was straddling the space of SRE and performance engineering on an SRE team. I think they work very well together, but I don't think they should be combined. They're truly separate, but they do feed into each other. Like what you learn from performance will come back to that SRE team in order for, to continually improve.
Yeah, I totally agree. SRE and performance testing may have blurry lines in between them, but it's like, I don't know, would you have Usain Bolt running marathons? He's a speedster. He's good at running, doing steps, moving fast. Me, performance engineer, I may be able to run fast, but the SRE can go longer. So some of these tasks, to me, may be dangerous, but as long as this person that is responsible for SRE and performance testing knows not to mix, because performance testing most of the time is kind of preventive, right? When you throw it to our production, it became SRE's problem. I don't want to say it that way, but their realm, to call it in a way, because we're always going to have communication. And in your organizations, you'd better have communication in between the SRE team and the performance team. They should be holding hands all days and having daily stand-ups and sharing coffees and what's your problem? Can I help you? Truly, I'm not joking. It's the best when they interchange. What do you see in production? What do I see in pre-prod with the developers? Hold hands and close the communication loop. I would put them together, but not fuse them. That's my opinion. Any? Okay, oh, I killed it. Okay.
Well, actually, he killed it.
Yeah, you started the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Carol. Are there any proven load testing tools with AI capabilities? I knew we were going to go back to AI. Do you know of any?
I do not, and I've been looking, so that hopefully someone knows.
I don't want to speak for them. We work with a company called SpeedScale, and I know that they're starting to leverage some AI technologies for things like I mentioned earlier, grabbing a session ID maybe out of a set of transactions so that you can have that correlation, like building that out. So yeah, so they're really the only ones that I know of as far as being focused on load testing. Yeah.
You?
I don't know exactly a tool focused on, AI, but I know Octoperf, they are trying to fix the correlation issues. It's so easy to make the auto correlation. I say auto because it's not the completely automatic correlation, but I think that they are doing, I'm not selling Autoperf, I'm not selling the Autoperf, but I'm used.
It was an open question. You
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah. Okay.
just saying what you
So
heard.
I know that they are working on it. They are a good feature for correlation. So I think it's based on that. Yeah, but I don't know any tool focused only on AI. No, no.
I know that. Do you remember when we had like the crypto and blockchain madness like 3-4 years ago? And this company that just added dot blockchain at the end, the stock market just went up, and with that company, I know of some tools that have done and put like the .ai at the end, or with AI capabilities now included next summer on theaters. No, and some of these solutions I have seen that they give you some analysis of the reports, but still some diaper situation not there yet. I'm not convinced. It's how many here have heard about tools just putting some AI, something, I don't know, but we now have AI. I saw a JMeter plugin that was a call to the ChatGPT API, so that could bring you some stuff. Now JMeter has AI.
Yeah.
But not that I'm aware, like that I can say proudly it embraces AI and empowers you with. It's just.
Let's go
shiny.
to build it.
Huh?
Let's go to build it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're already giving some ideas. People in the world, if you wanna
Yeah.
pick them, I don't care. I'm happy as long as it becomes a reality, and Skynet doesn't kill us. I'm happy.
Sky.
Yeah, no. So, Carol, that was our lack of an answer. In general, in QA tools, I don't know one that truly embraces and is showing something groundbreaking that everyone can use without like previous machine learning knowledge. Next from Andrew. How do you guys think chaos engineering ties in with performance testing? This is a good one.
Yes, engineering. um, it's from my perspective, chaos engineering is a niche aspect of performance testing. So
Mhm.
it's one of the test tools in your toolbox. So let's say you get a bug out of a chaos engineered test. It's like, all right, Taylor Swift tickets went on sale, and you bring that bug to development and say, hey, we ran a test where we, did 10 times more than we thought we were going to do. And then all of a sudden we pulled the plug on one of the web servers, and they say, all right, well, how often is that going to happen? So it plays a part. It gives us information of how the application behaves.
Mhm.
But any bugs out of that are usually, okay, we're going to put that in the backlog. And I've got some of my bugs in the backlog from a few years. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I guess like chaos engineering is supposed to add that touch of realism, I guess, to your tests, which maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know how realistic it is. I would say don't lean on it too hard. Like it is a niche thing. I like use sparingly. Yeah, I don't know that I would rely on it that much, but I think it's important to have in your toolkit, as you said, just to get a better feel for what a realistic scenario might be. Yeah.
No comments. I personally think chaos engineering is the stepbrother of SRE. It's in my mind, opinion, image. You have the circle for performance testing and engineering. Another circle for SRE that has an intersection, your Venn diagrams, having some areas that are common. And I feel that chaos engineering is the third circle, having some things that are shared with performance testing. Because chaos engineering will show you if a random situation or not so random or a problem in your system will slow it down, which concerns performance, or kill it, which concerns SRE. Is it going to be available, reliable, and up there? And I think it's complementary. I do agree. Although maybe you will get in a little bit of trouble. I want to see the chat of chaos engineers watching, like, we're not a sub-performance practice. Probably they're going to be like, we're different and special. But because it has its own reason. And many have the opinion chaos engineering is just like this evil gremlin just turning on and off switches. And no, you do it controlled. You have this the blast radius situation. You know how much you are going to affect. You don't do it randomly. You don't. You even know probably what are the things that you want to test from a chaos experiment. I'm gonna make these services lower, and that touches with performance, where probably the performance engineer is like, yep, it's a slowing down. We have the metrics. Or the SRE person says like, yeah, my monitoring and instrumentation shows that it's slowing down and it's impacting this, and that. So I think, in my opinion, those are the modern three amigos of the reliability, chaos, and performance triumvirate, or I don't know. Any other idea?
No.
You want controlled chaos, right? This is what I hear.
Well, you control the chaos you generate, but you want to be prepared for the chaos that you may receive.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's more preparedness, I think.
Yeah.
Know how fast the service is gonna take to come back, or to stop responding when something bad happens, or something very good, because many think that chaos is only bad stuff. Like, what happens if suddenly your transaction goes to taking, similar to the reporting question, 15 seconds, and suddenly it takes 0.1 seconds? That makes me raise an eyebrow. That might not be precisely good. It's so good that cannot be real. Something's wrong here. Performance engineers tend to be suspicious, like something's wrong here.
You had an interesting point. Is if it's too good, if it's too good to be true, it's not true. Something else. I actually had a situation like that. I was like, man, that API is going great. Dug into it. It's like this, and it was like, do it manually in the app. It's like something's not adding up. Well, the test itself was sending data that says, all right, 404, we don't got the data, boom, it's instant return. So yeah, that's a good point, is, all right, don't just look at the worst, look at the best. It's like, oh, and be suspicious. I agree.
So to close up on that one, what you said, a 404, you can get a 200 response that says, sorry, you couldn't connect.
Yes.
And it's going to be an awesome response because there was nothing found in the database. Quickly said, like, I have no index for this. Sorry, get out of here. And you're like, yay, 0.2 seconds, right? That's not precisely what we want. We have another from Carl. Hello, Carl. Or
Hello,
is Carl here? Nope. Okay. Hello, Carl. How can we keep performance testing in agile, changing environments that break scripts? Oh, this is a good one. Anyone?
You go first.
I can say, I can start. Sorry. Well, we have a script on AI perspective running every release. We're running automatically since, the developers say we are ready. Automatically, we trigger, the script. And it's challenge, because even more than on the automation side, because, if you have any change on the code, they're going to be affected. But sometimes you say, okay, this request is getting 200 okay, but behind that, it's not true. That it doesn't exist on the system, so you didn't realize that this is or no. So it's challenging for us, try to update the script every sprint. So the thing that we are doing, it's, every time that the developers say, we are working on this feature, we record again. Yeah, it's hard, I know, but it's painful, but
You
it's
have only one script. Some
only,
teams have
it's,
tens or
yeah,
hundreds.
it's crazy. But the thing is, I remember 2 months ago, we have a big event, Black Friday, we have a big event, and then we have a script running since 1 year ago, and we didn't realize any change because we are getting 200K from every request. So when we launched the script with a bunch of users, virtual users, like a 10,000 user, blah blah blah, and then we are not creating nothing on the system, is because we didn't update the script. So the thing that we are doing is we are communicating full communication with the developer, because we need to know those change in our script. So sometimes we think it doesn't matter, it's JMeter, it's not the same that the automation Selenium, blah blah blah. But no, it's painful, try to. So the thing is, we are so focused on every day that the developer day, and then we're recording again that future, and we are trying to fetch, all those new requests and then replacing or do the correlation, all the thing. But it's kind of hard. But I think this is the best practice from my team that we are doing, try to make a double recording, get those one and compare if something is or not, changing. And we have a bunch of issue related to that.
When you said a 1 year old script that no one touched since, I was like, that cannot be working. It's still like being okay. Robert.
Could be working. It depends if the year of the application was there.
Yeah, go on. That's a good point.
So one of the things we do is we don't always rely on the HTTP code coming back. 200, 404, we will always, at least in our scripts, have code to analyze the body, the response. And we know, if this word shows up, if this word shows up, it'll fail it. And so that way, at least we get a better accuracy rate when a script doesn't work, because it'll throw a failure, because we kind of know where to look for. And then the scripts that fail, those are the ones that, if it's a bug, gets written up. But if it's issue, we just rescript that script. We can't. We have hundreds, at least, different scripts, and our sprints are only 2 weeks. We can't recreate. And
It's
so
different.
yeah, so you put coding in our scripts to tell us when something fails, and then we just analyze those.
You are instrumenting your own
Instrumenting
scripts.
our own code.
Oh, I like
That's
that. That's a very good one. Any ideas?
Pass. Sorry,
Yeah.
Carl.
No worries. So I like the idea from Robert. Instrument, put monitoring on your scripts and report. Don't have your Dynatrace, Grafana's, App Dynamics watching only production. Watch your test devices. I like that. I'm gonna propose as well. You're saying like the developer has to tell you when he or she changed something. How about asking them to fix the script? How about pairing that script to the check-in process of the new code? That's a shift left that might be. I have done that here and there, where the team cannot check in code if it's not paired up with a working automation. And at the moment that they check in the new code, the automation for performance has to pass, like have an acceptable response time. Okay, you can go and move on and your journey towards production. Because otherwise, that is madness. If you have 10 developers, each one of them changes, and you have hundreds of scripts, good luck at the end of the sprint. It's gonna. Raise your hand if you have been crazy busy at the second Friday of the sprint. Those have been ugly nights, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't want to have that. That was a very good question, because what we have are many of these automations that we don't even get notified when there's a breaking change for our automations. And when we have hundreds, we cannot keep up. That's just not realistic. No matter how many hardening sprints we get, it's not realistic. So the key is that things are fixed at the time that they are broken and that you can detect it. I love that one.
Can detect it.
What do you use? How do you instrument them? That's a follow-up. Sorry, I'm jumping the next one, but
We use K6.
uh-huh.
We not to slam JMeter.
Ooh, things are getting
No.
heavy here. Fine.
Our
No.
engineers are developer focused.
Uh-huh.
JMeter is more GUI focused. And so when we did an evaluation, we felt that JMeter was slowing us down.
Mhm.
Because we, just record, modify this JavaScript, put in, our correlations and such like that. So I just lost my train of thought. What was the
No,
specific question?
that
Okay.
how are you managing to instrument your code, your automations?
Well, we um, we script the code. We correlate. We just do not use the same logins. Do not use the same
Mhm.
dates. Well, sometimes you need to change the dates. This isn't even a correlation. It's like if your workflow that you're scripting is date specific, you need to make sure that you're putting in the right date. But names and that's actually the easy part for my team.
Mhm.
It's the responses. It's how do you code the checks on the response to pull out data, either session data,
Mhm.
what have you, and or just names that you need to use further down in the script workflow. And engineers learn how to do as you work with an application over a while. Once you get to know how it responds, it then makes the scripting easy to check for. It's like I said, when a script fails, it may still give us a 200 error or 200 response, but we know when it fails, it will always have this code
Yeah.
in the response file.
Interesting.
So we have a check.
Yep.
It's like, look for this. Every response, look for this. Boom.
Love
I
it.
think that also, I think that Robert say, I think that it's better integrate those kind of tool for coding, like a K6 for continuous integration for
Mhm.
a sprint area. It's more easy to integrate and realize the change and all the things that you are trying to. Because if you're going to, tool like a JMeter, it's painful because you have to do all the manually. So I think, yeah,
And
very
I'm
good
not
point.
slamming JMeter.
No.
JMeter
I mean, it's okay. Right now I know that JMeter have the DSL. It's something JMeter DSL.
I was gonna.
Okay, so it's
Just out of curiosity, what language is the code and the solution programmed in that you're testing?
Well, it's a web application, C#.net.
C sharp. Okay, then
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
Because well, if you happened to have your application in Java, there's this new plugin, the DSL plugin, that from Java you can call JMeter scripts in Java code, and it's transparent for developers. We should have a C sharp for
developer,
that. Yeah.
for developers. It's a good, yeah.
But yeah, that's a great solution. I love that you were even worried about hurting K6 or JMeter feelings, because yeah, some of us can get tied to the tools. And speaking of tools, this is from a very famous person, Mr. Anonymous, or Miss. Sorry if I. What do you say are the most important performance metrics in mobile app testing?
It's the response time. It's
It depends, because it's similar. If you're focused on mobile application, you have the server over there. So if you have the web application, you have the server over there. So I don't know if it's focused on the device or it's focused on the server. So I agree.
You have a very good point.
It depends. It depends.
but
Yeah.
focusing on the device from an automated
Exactly, yeah.
perspective is there's no good inexpensive tools
Mhm.
to get the user experience feedback, metrics from, all right, yeah, this tool called this API, the
Yeah.
API responded in 0.79, seconds. But this user is like, all right, whatever code's trying to process that data that returns is, all right, the user experience is 6, 7, 8 seconds. It's so we're get into something like that. We're now researching, because we do have a couple of handheld apps, trying to look into options for getting the full performance picture from mobile. But right now we're just hitting the APIs.
I like that the Delvis mentioned like the performance situation of the device, because you can be testing the backend,
Yeah.
which we can test the backend from a web application, from an IoT device, a desktop application, from a mobile application, and it's pretty much the same. The backend, you give it a call or many, slam it, and measure what is the response time. That's usual. But in this question, I personally generally bring the attention to the mobile's performance. How many here have burned your leg when your mobile is in your pocket? And that's bad performance. What I mean, sometimes your cell phone will get incredibly hot for no reason from a rogue application that started to drain battery, run CPU, RAM, TikTok, sounds a bell. I had a weird
Snapchat.
experience with that.
Snapchat.
Snapchat does that as well. Sometimes turning on the GPS
Yeah.
gets the device really hot, drains your battery. That's bad performance. Not only slowness, but the resource consumption. I gave an example in the tutorial that like the performance of a Hummer is not only how fast it can go, the miles per gallon that you get. How long can your iPhone device stay with 100% charge and last in a single charge? Depending on how old is the iPhone.
Dude, what OS version?
Because and the performance of an iPhone is blazing fast most of the time, if it's also not too old. Because
I'm Android.
me too. That's what I was getting to, because the iPhone could be, when you just open it, can be super fast, snappy, blah, blah, blah. But the battery will be gone by 4 p.m. That's bad performance, in my opinion. You have to cover the important elements in a mobile device. And on an Android, yeah, I can go to bed, and depending on the model that you have, sometimes I have like 20. This one I have, it's in 50 when I go to bed. That's an awesome performance that I love. I don't care that it takes a little bit to open the video. There are some applications. Appium, Abstracta had one.
Abstracta had
Appium.
something like this, yeah.
We'll make sure to get this, because it's like a client that you can install in your mobile devices to measure the performance of the device. It's like a perf monitor. And we care about the performance of our devices, not just the backend. For backend, we just call APIs, we just send the requests. Many people fall in the trap of thinking, I need to simulate 1,000 devices, so I need to buy like 1,000 iPhones. Good luck with that budget. And that's not the case. When you care about the performance, it doesn't matter if you have only one device. If the backend is being slammed with requests in the API, it's going to be slow. If only one user can work on your application and the application is not draining the battery, the data, the CPU, the temperature, I think that's good performance and the things that we should pay attention on a mobile device.
Yeah, I would add that it's important to kind of, to your point, is knowing what's going on with the backend as well as on the device and the mobile app itself, and just kind of being able to have that holistic view of the system. And I think that can tell you a lot about where to focus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because again, there are things in the backend that you can have problems there. Of course, it's going to impact everyone using your device. But if it's in the front end, a single person using the device will have the problem. You won't need multiple users using it if it's not scaling or in the device itself. I think we have time for one, maybe two more questions, depending on how heated the debate gets. But the next one is again from the person anonymous. What is the best way to measure UI application performance? User interfaces, front ends.
I love that question. So too often performance engineers focus on the back end. I'm passionate about end user experience, and the back end only gives a small picture of overall performance. There are main tools that my engineers use to measure the user experience. One is Fiddler. It records, but the Chrome DevTools is an awesome tool to get that information of screen for all the Google metrics. first
Tools.
paint, least,
Render
it's like,
time.
yeah,
all
all,
Minification of
and
elements.
those are great. I am so thankful that Google came up with those metrics. Those are now standards, and the entire industry will now understand them. And those are the requirements. It's like, I don't know, I'm sure my experience is not unique, but getting performance requirements from our BAs or product owners is very rare. So, so Google has defined that. So the Chrome dev tools, yes, it may be a manual job going through that, but you can record that. You've got nice graphs. Now, from a load perspective, we use K6 as our load testing tool. K6 has recent released a beta or basically
It's already in the core.
it's
Browser?
in core. Okay, it's basically a running GUI tests through a load test run. So what we do there is we'll run our load test, and as a part of our load test, we have scripted out GUI scripts in K6 that run simultaneously with it on different machines. So each, we do it. And then, so when the report comes back, we get our load test metrics. And then we get all those Google use end client
Lighthouse
metrics.
Analytics.
Yeah, all the analytics. And that's part of the report. And if something flags red or frowny face, we pursue it. So I love that question. Focus on client.
Could you repeat the question real quick? I just want to make sure I understand the question itself.
I think I already marked it, and I don't know
Oh,
how
okay.
to return to them, but it was how one should pay attention to UI performance, how to
Right.
attack that.
Okay, I have a hot take, I think.
Bring it on. Yes,
So-
please.
There's a room full of people downstairs that will sell you a tool to do your UI testing. And it'll tell you what the performance is of it from a numbers perspective. But at the end of the day, it's people that are using your app. So I feel like the best tool you have is yourself. Use your app, like have your friends use it, have your colleagues use it, like, because at the end of the day, that's who's doing it. That's who can tell you what the experience is. So you can have numbers all day and maybe they mean something and maybe they don't. So yeah, I would just say don't neglect the human element.
Very good.
Yeah, about the UI testing, from the front end, that's so important because you can follow, all the rules that Robert mentioned, the minification of the CSS, that's technical side. But I would like to talk about another side, for example, what about the design software thinking on performance? There is another topic related to the performance. It's about perception of performance. It's the way that you are designing software thinking on performance. Let's say, for example, if you have the blank page, there, and then you don't have any interaction or any animation, that perception maybe will be so high on the response time. So if you design thinking on performance, you are focused also on the UI. So sometimes we are overlooked, that part of the designing for performance testing. That's so important also.
Thought of a question. Is it the performance engineer's job to analyze UI design from a performance perspective?
That's a good
How many
one.
clicks?
I
What
would
is the
say
tab orders?
they at least have some input into it, right? Like they may not have the answer, but they can at least bring
Provide feedback or,
Yeah.
on the design.
And I would say not necessarily just a performance engineer. I like that you're saying like, yeah, ask your grandma to click on the application, say it's slow, I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's the first one in UI. You mentioned as well some elements that I love about if you know that the elevator is gonna be slow and take a while to pick up people, put a mirror so that people are entertained down there. Design for it. Some applications like, hey, this is gonna take a little bit. Please, please, please don't close this window. We're gonna be back with you in a moment. This is money happening here or some
Yeah.
other reasons. The psychology of performance, that's another important with UI. If you don't take that into account as well, yeah. If you know it's a lengthy process, nothing to do about it. Again, payroll or the year close of tax season, blah. Those are slow processes that, yeah, there's no other way. Google Analytics, the developers tool paired up with anyone using the application. I think that is one of the best ones. I love that K6, you're recommending the web browser, but you are not generating load from a web browser. That's expensive, heavy. There are some other things that you can do. RUM, real user monitoring. You can put in your web application code some telemetry and instrumentation similar and see what is the experience of your real users. So they are performance testing for you. Oh, a room full of real people doing my load test? Yeah, that can happen. Release techniques into production. You can have beta testers or beta users that, hey, here's the beta version. Who wants to try it first of Facebook, Netflix? Me. You're going to have a bunch of users that will be super happy to have something that might not perform, but they get the newest version to play with or have subsegments of the market. Another one that I generally, and this is like a silly rule. Again, I'm going to go with resources. Is your front-end device, your UI, consuming a lot of resources? This is the, have an old laptop, kind of old CPU, not too much RAM. And if you can have 10 tabs of Chrome open of your application, you might be in a good position. Because often when it's a super heavy system, draining resources, the front end is heavy on your customers, and 10 tabs is like Chrome, and like, oh, you see the little folder with crossed eyes, like I died. That's bad performance. Your customers or end users should not have to use rocket ships of computers to be able to run your system. With that, I'm seeing the time. We're about to be done. Robert, when can people reach out to you?
I will be here throughout
Online.
the rest of the week.
No, online.
Online. I keep my social media presence minimal.
Okay. So you'll have to come here and meet with Robert.
So, but
Come to the conference.
if you got my name correct, you can reach me by email, Robert Mayella, all one word, @gmail.com.
Great. And Dean?
Yeah, if you're here at the conference, feel free to stop me in the hall. I'm happy to talk and stuff like that. And come to Chick-fil-A and eat some chicken. Download the app and tell us how we're doing.
Delvis?
Over my side on LinkedIn, I'm no social media man, so only on LinkedIn by Delvis Echeverria. You can find me.
You can see the names down there in the screen. If you are seeing the stream, reach out to these gentlemen. If you walk here in the conference, please come so that you can talk to them, get different perspectives, experienced users from a long ago, newcomers, and in the middle, well, you're just in performance, so that's another one. And he's another, he provides trainings and courses and certifications. Also call him if you're interested. So thank you very much, everyone here. Please, an applause to the brave people here in front talking about performance. Bring it on, yay! And this applause is for you all as well. Really thank you that you came and shared your questions, experiences, and hope that you learned a lot from these awesome people. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Performance panel
Thank you.
out. Take care and enjoy the rest of the conference. Adios, people online. See you. And we'll be around with the next panel. I don't know if we